the fact that they have their own views on the game. They are not afraid of going their own way, playing their own style, and kind of just marching to the beat of their own drum, which I really, really respect. You know, guys like Gryffinn and Gakgos and Cryogen especially, who have the least experience on the team, some of the youngest players, period, in Tier 1, they are just playing what they think is correct to play, and they're not really caring about what anyone else has to say about it.
And they're also respecting Cloud9's own pocket picks. The Ziggs, they ban it again. They know this weapon in the hands of APA is very, very dangerous, so the respect is there.
Shen is up, so Shen was not banned this time. Vi is available, Shen is available. It's going to be interesting to see where we go in the jungle pool, because so much that has been limited. Thanatos, though, going to get his comfort here. I wonder if Gakgos would slam, you know, like a spicy pick like an Aurelia or something. I know people have been using the ADTF into Gnar, and also people like Vayne into Gnar, so, you know, those are both gone, but there is possibilities here.
Well, the Kalista Renata here in game number 5 for Massu and Cryogen, who have been so confident in their play and have honestly been very good in almost every single lane that we've had this series.
And you can see, up until now, Kalista had 0.0%, a big old double donut in terms of pick ban presence so far. This is a champion where I feel like when it's relevant in the meta, it's kind of pick ban tier, and when it's not relevant, it's completely gone. So seeing Massu and Cryogen pull this out, it's pretty surprising.
It is, especially because I was going to say, last game, we saw a lot of the safe picks that were available get limited in the second phase. Jhin was up. I know you're a Jhin hater. A lot of people are Jhin haters, but Jhin is a strong, safe laner, right? And so, you know, had they been able to bring this out later, you know, maybe could have been more powerful. We'll see how that matchup ends up going, but it's like, had you been able to thin the pool a little bit more and take away something like that Jhin and force them onto a hyper carry, then it's really, really scary. But instead, it is just going to be Jhin Alistar here as the answer from Zven and Vulcan. I definitely feel like FlyQuest bot lane has just been better throughout this series. They have been looking a lot stronger. And so you do not want to give an edge to Kalista Renata, who can run away with the game.
So the big thing that I look at whenever you're up against Renata, especially when she's drafted early, is you got to make sure you're not just sending a dive comp at the enemy team, because hostile takeover is so effective against it. So you've already got Alistar, who's going to jump in melee. Gnar, of course, likes to fight in Mega Gnar form, so that's going to be another one to send in. I want to see what kind of range C9 brings, as FlyQuest are going to bring out the Akali.
Technically, too, you can flex this Akali into a Gnar, so don't pigeonhole it into mid lane. We'll wait and see, as far as the bans go, what they want to cover.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they're just showing that they want to go full send it, you know, on a dive comp here with the Akali blind. I think we're going to see some mid lane bans potentially here to cover for quad. Poppy, I think, is really smart when you're going to be playing both Kalista and Akali. Poppy is a nightmare to deal with, so I think that is a really, really good ban. And then I just wonder, you know, if they're going to try to target another safe pick here from APA. You know, maybe something like the Galio could be problematic if you're going to go Akali blind. I feel like Galio could be a decent matchup, and also, you know, does work pretty well against kind of just the theme that I feel like FlyQuest is drafting for.
Yeah, definitely could be the case.
Ooh.
Syndra, so they are expecting it, like I was talking about, to go into the Gnar. Since a lot of the other, you know, Gnar answers or counter picks have been kind of pillaged here, you could, like you're saying, go super spicy. But the better thing about Akali versus like Aurelia is that you have way more safety and mobility. I thought it would still be kind of cool to see like a Yasuo or some of those super
Yasuo,
super
Aurelia.
killer.
Dude, game 5, if you're slapping that down.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy, but it's FlyQuest. If there is a team in our league to do it, it's this team for sure.
Okay.
Trundle going to be the last ban here from FlyQuest, which tells me you're probably wanting to go for a big, heavy-duty tank. Sejuani's one that immediately comes to mind, because Trundle is the absolute counter.
Exactly, and you have a melee mid laner or top laner, right?
A melee solo laner.
Exactly, a melee solo laner. So you could potentially have double melee solo laners paired with the Sejuani. So they are, you know, broadcasting that they might be going for it. But no mid lane protection ban, so clearly both teams thinking this is going to be, you know, potentially towards top, but then there is the Aurelia, so C9 is banning one for it's going mid lane and one for it's going top lane, so the flex pick is showing a lot of value, and that is one of the strengths of FlyQuest.
Yeah, really big. Oh, the Mundo here comes in, so they do get that big tank presence. And although not a lot of CC, guess what? Jhin, as great as a strong laner as he is, doesn't do great against Mundo later for trying to get through him.
Yeah, and obviously you can go things like Azir to deal with the Mundo, but Azir doesn't really want to play into Akali, right? So I feel like it's actually pretty intelligent how they're drafting out thus far. And we're going to see their draft completed, and then we're going to have the ability for FlyQuest to choose where they want the Akali to go.
When you have both Alistar and Sejuani on the same team here, it doesn't look like a lot of damage, especially because Jhin isn't going to be the primary one to go through the Mundo. Gnar, though, Thanatos Gnar on top of being Gnar. Like, he could get really big in a side lane regardless. This guy is very good at Gnar. And that champion, you know, if you get enough money. Okay, sustained tank here for the Swain.
And I love Swain into dive comp. Swain is one of my old school favorite champions. When I'm playing mid and someone is going full dive, Swain is so good because you're saying, great, you want to dive onto my Jhin, you want to kill him off? You're going to be walking through an ulted Swain who is going to make your life a nightmare. But Kassadin would be an interesting angle here, you know, into the Swain. I don't know if they're just kind of trying to bait here. Or if they're actually going to consider it. I don't really expect it. I just feel like you give up too much wave clear early, you're going to be constantly pushed in. So instead, it is going to be more standard, will be the Azir. So we are thinking this now means Gakgos will be the one playing the Akali. Quad going to be playing the more standard Azir. And this top lane matchup, that could decide everything.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of makes sense because you're seeing so many health stackers. Everybody but Jhin is health stackers on the side of Cloud9. So FlyQuest, they really need something to cut through all of that. And it's probably one of those games where the Azir is not going to do, at least early, not very many Azir sex people back into your team. And more, you need him for the DPS, and you can use your ultimate a lot for, you know, peeling and making the fight better for yourselves. Super hype here for game number 5.
Yep, chat, let us know, who do you think won the draft? Who's going to win the game based on the draft? Spam C9 or FlyQuest in chat. And we'll see. They're 2-1 now because they predicted FlyQuest for the last game, so they're doing pretty well.
So I believe this is, for the LCS at least, first Kalista, first Renata, and first Swain of the split so far. 3 out of 10 champs coming in for the first time is some pretty crazy stuff. Akali, of course, has been played so far, but it's almost always played middle. So honestly, I'm going to give an extra point to that too.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff here. You know, we have seen some Akali top, very little. It was played twice as an answer into the Gnar in the LEC. Lost both those games.
That doesn't count.
It was shifters playing it as well, so it extra doesn't count. But you know, you know, it is something that is out there, just not a common pick.
And again, the reason I'm looking at it early there, when they get it early, is because you have so much safety, and there's not a lot of the, you know, direct counter picks. So Akali can be just fine, and you can just scale, and you can get your level 6, and your burst damage. You can also be a champ that takes advantage of when Gnar is in a timer for mini. So you have a lot of options with this champ. You don't have to like pick it and smash your lane. If you're just farming and scaling too, you're going to be a big threat. Going to have some good burst.
Don't have to, but it's fun if you do.
Very fun.
And we got Raz standing by with an interview for Coach Apollo.
That's right, I got Apollo with me. You're already just saying, oh my gosh, just looking at the early trades happening here. It's something that you want to focus on?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously picked a pretty strong bot lane in the game 5, and it's like, there are not many champions left to deal with Kalista Renata. At least that's what we thought. And right now, Jhin Alistar, it's like, yeah, they pretty much just have to do their best to survive. So yeah, it's gonna be, this is kind of make or break for bot lane.
What's the message that you sent the boys as you guys are trying to get something going?
I mean, honestly, like even the games that we lost, like we've been playing pretty well, you know. And we had like the game 2 throw, game 3 throw. Yeah, game 2 throw. And yeah, even so, ever since then, I feel like we've been kind of like getting better and better, warming up a bit. But yeah, I mean, nothing really. I don't think we like tried to stress them out. It's just up to us prepping a good draft and making sure their players are comfortable.
I like that message because this is their first game 5, I'm assuming, as like a young core. But you've personally been in this situation, I'm sure, a lot of times.
Yeah, technically, I was in this situation versus C9. But I was getting reverse swept. So, I mean, it would feel really good to have the reverse sweep this time around.
All right, I don't want to take too much of your time, but like just the last coach did a good luck honk, but they lost. So what do you want to do?
I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's necessary. Thank you for giving me the option, though.
All right, I gave you the option. I'm going to send this one back to the casters.
respectful exchange there. He did not consent to the honk. You know?
I don't think that's necessary.
You know what? Fair.
Great answer from Apollo. I love the memory as well. Yeah, I got reverse swept by these guys, so I would love to reverse sweep them.
That chicken is cooked.
Wait, what?
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I was about to say, boys, am I missing something? I feel like
What?
Look at it. It hides behind the flag.
Has that always been there?
How long has that been in the game?
I have never seen that before.
I am not good at paying attention to small details like this, but
Ooh.
hey, the chat results are in. Much closer this time around. Remember, in game number 4, it was 76% for FlyQuest. Now, 57. So they still come out on top, but much closer race.
It's also worth noting that Gakgos is playing Flash Ignite. I expected Ignite, but a lot of times Akali top players will go Ignite TP.
Yeah.
So this is much more about, playing aggressive, and Sejuani is heading top.
So is Mundo. And so they're both doing a same timer here. Mundo now pings back to the Gromp, as does Sejuani. So when you're going back for your top-down clears, get a couple seconds to play with, see if there's going to be anything, and both of them opt into pure farm.
So producers have informed me that normally there is a bird there, but part of the chicken Swain skin is he replaces the bird with a fried chicken because he is the emperor of fried chicken. So it's all because of the Swain pick. Swain's just such a rare pick, you never actually notice it.
That's really funny because,
Hold on, bottom side, Vulcan going in. Pressure down onto the enemy AD carry. Massu getting himself away for now, but Zven and Vulcan going to be happy with that one.
yeah, really nice combo. They get 3 summoners down for just the price of 1 here. And that is cool. I should have realized that because I remember one of the old dragon Swain skins spawns all these little dragons everywhere around
yeah,
the
the
map,
little
like
hatchling
perching and stuff.
Yeah.
So that is pretty cool. A nice little detail there.
Yeah.
Why does Swain get to change the map, huh? I was thinking...
You want Volibear to change the map? Blaber's trying to change the map by killing Quad here, but the flash backwards from FlyQuest mid laner means it ain't going to happen. It's first blood over to Quad, and Fly aren't done just yet. APA down to 150 HP, finds the never move to drag Quad into the turret. APA stays alive, but FlyQuest come out on top.
Gryffinn and Quad, they get revenge for all the way back in game number 1, the mid-jungle duo that determined the stomp. Cloud9 stomped that game off of mid-jungle, and here, Gryffinn and Quad on 2 picks that scale very well. Mundo and Azir, they win.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's one thing if your mid-jungle gets killed by, Lee Sin and LeBlanc with Ignite. When I see my mid-jungle die to Azir Mundo, I am scared for what the future of this game is going to hold.
Yeah, and it was a good flash from Quad to avoid the engage from Blaber, and then they still can chase down easily. So they get the first blood, and it goes into the Azir's hands. Everyone's always like, we need to get our Azir to scale. Give him some money. Rarely does it happen this early, but
Once more, it's Massu under pressure. Vulcan and Zven doing a great job engaging on the Kalista once more. We heard from Apollo. Kalista, Renata. They drafted it because most of the answers are gone, but clearly C9 knows how to solve the problem.
I mean, Jhin, like I said, is one of the strongest laners. It's a great neutralizer. Jhin, you don't pick to dominate lanes, but they are finding these combos. Vulcan is engaging. The Deadly Flourish is there to follow up. Cryogen has not been able to block any of these Deadly Flourishes, and he has not also been able to handshake any of the headbutt pulverizes. That is kind of the matchup. You have to be able to deny that engage and then punish the Alistar, because if Alistar goes forward, gets handshook on that engage, all of a sudden you don't have any CC and you're getting the spear stacked on you like crazy.
definitely has been a big factor in all of the games of the series too. The bottom lane has been such a point of reliable strength for FlyQuest, but getting cracked here as Cloud9. And basically, I don't really count that as a gank. That was 2v2.
Yeah.
They did almost all the work themselves. Blaber kind of showed up to help finish off the possible
To be clear,
revive.
the bot laners counted as a gank.
Yeah, the ones receiving it for sure do.
They will be typing jungle div.
Yeah, it's just like, well, enemy jungler's here. What was I supposed to do? That's the nature of the game. Okay, so we do not have the dragon taken early on by either side. Grub's still a minute away from spawning. Top side of the river, though, controlled by FlyQuest right now as Gakgos walks over to eat a couple of those yummy apples. Thanatos, 70 farm versus Gakgos' 66. But remember that most of this time has been spent pre-level 6, and it's really post-ulti that Akali gets that true pressure onto the Gnar.
Yeah, and Akali also is holding that wave, or was holding that wave a little bit, so is going to go just slightly ahead. And yeah, it's about that kill threat later on. The question really is going to be, you know, can you kill off this Jhin effectively without just getting roasted by all of the CC, all these meatballs that Cloud9 have drafted for? Because it is going to be very difficult to fight through them.
All right, they're walking into the river here. Gryffinn and Quad from the top side. Cryogen and Massu from the bottom side. It's a pincer.
Okay, FlyQuest ready to try to fight for it, but immediately C9 going in after Gryffinn. They want to burst down the Mundo, staying alive right now with a maximum dosage, but it's not enough. Zven takes the kill. The Mundo falls. Griffin's out of the picture as C9 maintain control over the bottom side river.
When they try and pull a pincer on you, you just immediately attack one side that is approaching. All of Cloud9 in unison turn right up onto Gryffinn, and even though he's Mundo, they don't care. They know he didn't have a flash from the mid lane play, and so they can kill this Mundo. Just turn on one of the sides and immediately commit to gain your advantage, and then you can just take the objective afterwards.
And Alistar is good versus Mundo for the same reason that Alistar is good versus Sivir, right? Because the spell shield just eats the knockback and then you get knocked straight up. And the same thing happens here when you go for that combo. Nice dodge by Gakgos. So he's able to just engage and kind of just ignore that passive. And even with a really well-timed Heart Zapper, Gryffinn had that up for all the damage coming in. He still could not survive, couldn't get enough health back from that ultimate coming out of the CC. And Zven was able to finish him off. And now has a completed Ghostblade here already for Zven. So it's going to be a lot harder to lock down.
Yeah, this Jhin with a nearly 1,000 individual gold lead. C9 up a single kill, but the gold overall tied here between the two teams, as there's also a sizable lead for Quad in the mid lane on this Azir. You guys touched on it earlier when we saw the first 2v2 over in mid. Getting this hyper-scaling mid laner, this powerful carry off to this start. Great sign for FlyQuest, and you can see right there, Quad has already purchased his Nashor's Tooth 9 minutes and 23 seconds into the game.
Yep, Quad doing great. Top side on fire. He just hops away.
Literally. He's ignited, but not quite going to find a kill here. Gakgos, though, no more smoke available as Thanatos is going to try to attack these minions a couple times. Charge up the Gnar bar, throws out the boomerang. Meanwhile, down here in the bottom lane, 2v2 continues up in the top side. Gakgos flashing away from the glacial prison, staying alive for now as the curtain call opens up in the bottom lane. Massu trying to get away, needs to escape outside of the edge. Massu, he bleeds down to the Deathfire torch. And that means Zven goes on a killing spree. Beautifully done. Cryogen forced all the way back as well.
And once again, our bot lane race, now it's going back the other way. The C9 veterans in game number 5 are smashing it.
That is really big stuff there. Massu just tried to straight up run out, and the Deathfire touch ends up taking him down. That third shot, Zven connected 3 in a row. It felt like Massu just wasn't even trying to dodge. He was just beelining it.
Ooh, nice shuffle there from Quad, trying to throw APA away. Has to flash, though, as the Swain tries to make sure he can stay in range, but it's not quite going to work. Summoner spell, though, spent by both mid laners.
Yeah, Quad was happy to take the 1v1, but this ward over the wall there spotted the Sejuani coming in, and that's why he has to then go for the disengage. Knows he has got to run for the hills. Blaber has his protoplasm harness ready to go, and C9 want to just keep forcing fights. They are very strong right now.
They want to fight around this fed Jhin. I called it Deathfire Torch on accident. Deathfire Touch, though, is an incredibly powerful keystone for a champion who naturally just scales his AD so high by virtue of how his kit works. It can do such deceptively high damage.
And let's see, Gryffinn is eyeballing a topside play again. Maybe get some vision on the next spawn of Raptors. He did have the timer because when Blaber showed bottom for the previous bottom gank, Gryffinn did actually steal his Raptors and took the timer there and took the payment. So we'll see. With the mid lane push again, I expect him to grab those, but Blaber's kind of circulating around the other side just for the crab anyway, so he's not really going to care that much.
Thanatos jumping in here. Finds a quick combo onto Gakgos, but the Akali getting away for now. Thanatos just jumps on him, though. If the Akali is the answer to the Gnar, the answer's marked wrong. Thanatos gets the 1v1.
Has the flash advantage thanks to that earlier gank from Blaber and utilizes it there very effectively. Flashes in, finishes off that kill. And when Akali falls behind in the matchup like this, it does become very difficult.
Okay, bottom side, engage once again, coming out from Vulcan. Blaber is here, Massu and Cryogen trying to defend themselves. Hostile takeover buys enough time to keep FlyQuest safe.
Yeah, Cloud9 want to go for the dive because they have so tanky of a front line here with the Alistar ult. With the shots coming from Zven, though, Cryogen has to dodge at the end, and they still get the priority. They still get a tower plate, although no kill because of the evasive maneuvers here. Kalista ult right into the bounce. Handshake is enough for them to survive for now, at least.
Yeah, this is really big for C9, though, continuing to put that pressure on. And you can see Thanatos was even pulling the wave, stacking it up so it would push towards him. He knows that Gakgos is not in a position to actually win an all-in. If you can't win the all-in, you are just going to be slowly whittled down in these kind of matchups here. So Thanatos really showing his class. Absolutely a big comfort pick for him on the Gnar and is looking fantastic.
Yeah, especially like when you have the comfort pick, the number of games played here too on his side, just going to feel comfortable in all these situations. While yeah, you're going to put some time practicing your Akali top, it's not going to be in some of the top most played ones. And Dragon is up, early vision secured here for Cloud9. I don't think there should be a contest for FlyQuest, so maybe they actually do go topside to try and get something else instead, while they know Cloud9 are going to be taking the objective.
Yep, that objective not being challenged here by the side of FlyQuest. I mean, it's really hard to challenge when the enemy AD carry is up 2,000 gold, and it's kind of the opposite effect of what we were talking about earlier. We're saying Azir and Mundo, that feels really good to get ahead with early because they scale so well. Kalista doesn't scale compared to other AD carries, and so for her to be 2,000 gold behind is rough.
Yeah, it is extremely rough. But that being said, there's not great tank killing from C9. Yes, Gnar has, Hyper has percent HP damage, but even a Jhin from ahead is not great at killing a Mundo, right? And you have an Azir that is in a good position. You have a Mundo that's in a good position. So if these guys continue to scale, hey, there are going to be opportunities, and you do have some tools to potentially kill off that Jhin with the Akali.
Quad getting away as Vulcan tries to make a move towards the enemy mid laner, at least try to put some pressure on him, but Quad calm and cool, collected. Cryogen also waiting over the wall here. Thanatos stepping forward. Vulcan makes his return. Defensive Azir ultimate makes sure that C9 can't continue their play. Vulcan forced to use the Unbreakable Will there as Cryogen shows up.
Yeah, Cryogen been hovering for a while here, trying to clear through the jungle and make sure this Azir is safe. So Quad does indeed stay safe for now, and it's the slight trade on cooldowns as APA trying to chase him down.
Yeah, he goes after Gakgos, finds some good damage here initially, but Gakgos tries to turn it around, flashes away from the Glacial Prison as Blaber arrives. C9's jungler ready to reinforce his mid laner here, try to make sure they can turn this around, but as soon as Gryffinn shows up as well, it means everybody's going to walk away.
And Blaber has Summoner Spell book here, switched over to heal too, so was waiting to try and do a little bit of a heal bait there too if they wanted to go for the perfect execution onto the Swain back in, but Gakgos gonna use it to safety, gonna use it to evade, does cost flash on top of the ult.
And remember, tickets are available for the spring finals at ASU's Mullet Arena, June 13th, 14th, 2 and 1 day pack. Him go for this Shiv build, which is higher win rate than Blade of the Rune King, I know, in solo queue.
I feel like, yeah, maybe he just goes it second and wanted the Shiv for more minion
Wave
control
clear.
while he's getting kind of blasted down there.
I mean, hey, the Shiv will proc the Blade of the Ruined King now, right? You
Perfect.
just Blade of the Ruined King everybody there with your Shiv, as the Rift Herald has already been secured by Gryffinn and FlyQuest. C9 show up, but it's a little bit too little, a little bit too late. Thanatos at least getting some alone time here with the bottom lane tier 1 turret. Should be able to secure that one for C9.
Yeah, it's kind of the payment down there. The split push with this Gnar. Guess what? Again, we keep highlighting Thanatos, and very comfortable champion for him. If he gets to go crazy on the Gnar split push, it could become a real problem for how they're trying to play. So they do sacrifice, Rift Herald for the final push and to open up the extra lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Thanatos, as he gets ahead, you're going to have so much HP. Akali is not going to be able to 100-0 you, right? And if you can't do that, you just can't win the 1v1. Akali also not great at looking for all-ins against a Swain, unless the Swain is comically behind. You're not going to really be able to burst through that either. API has gone for the Blackfire Torch, playing Deathfire Touch. He's going to have a lot of sustained damage here in these fights if you're trying to engage past him. Of course, this is a bit of a squishier build. Sometimes players in really heavy dive comps will go Roa, play it a bit safer, but this is higher DPS, and I do generally prefer this style of build.
Especially because they do need to squeeze out, I feel like, a little bit more damage, even though Zven is doing really nicely, so does get them there. A lot of item breakpoints here coming in for Cloud9 because Zven is so accelerated, hitting the 2-item collector here very quickly, and then because jungle, they're just really cheap items. you also get your 2 items for Blaber here, but Sejuani definitely serves the full purpose at the moment as Gryffinn gets interrupted.
Ooh, yeah, Gryffinn gonna eat that combo there as Vulcan chases after him. Thanatos right behind.
He was shopping.
Yeah,
sure.
that was
Didn't even move
goof
immediately.
from Gryffinn as C9 are ready to punish, and Thanatos here, the tank breaker with the Gnar.
Yeah, I mean, he was completely caught shopping there. Was slow to react after he got interrupted. I think he could have just walked that one out. Then decides not to flash, pops the ult, dies anyway. That really sucks for FlyQuest, who now are going to be without that Mundo ult for the next dragon. So now you can't even contest the dragon. You're basically giving up soul point for free off of that death.
Yeah, that is tough stuff. And we talk about how, yes, Zven is ahead, but it can be hard to punch through the Mundo. Everybody else on the team is very squishy. Jhin's lethality build is going to sting when it finds any other health bar. So FlyQuest, yeah, it's like you say, Azael, this is not really a playable dragon anymore unless you can get some sort of crazy, unexpected pick.
I mean, Mundo without ult is just useless. This champion is so powerful with ult. If you can get the full channel, all that healing and health from it, without it, you just walk into a fight and you generally just die for free.
Hey, it's not for free. You can throw a cleaver, make a splat noise when it hits the guy.
That's
funny.
true, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you willing to accept that hefty cost? The non-free?
Yes, I am.
fight? Oh my goodness.
You'll take that deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely agree. You only have a few more seconds left on the dragon, so it's dragon number 3, and it's Mountain. It's going to give you a lot more durability on, guess what? A team that is very durable here, so Mountains are going to be quite nice for this C9 team. They'll be very beefy. FlyQuest, again, can they make something elsewhere? Last time around, they're looking around, like, fine, we can't fight the dragon. We'll try and make something on the other side of the map. Here, they're doing the same thing. Fine, we can't deal with the dragon. Can we do something on the top side of the map? Well, we can take Krugs.
Yeah, I thought they might have looked for a Herald play, to be honest, but decided to just hold on to the Herald for now. They are clearly just trying to funnel gold into quad. This is your best shot at winning for sure. I mean, Massu is an entire item behind on an early game champ. It's probably just not going to happen unless he randomly gets, you know, a bunch of kills in a team fight or something. So I think playing towards quad, just enabling him as best as you possibly can, makes a lot of sense.
Here comes the big Rift Herald charging down the top lane. Finds a couple of plates immediately. FlyQuest picking up a little bit of money off of this one, but they will not be... Ooh, wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, the last plate does burn away. The third plate, at least.
APA maybe just going to go into to Rylai's next. I wouldn't be surprised. Rylai's obviously very, very effective, especially against these champions all trying to run through you. Quad already has his second item with the Rylai's. He is playing, you know, on that Nashor's, has lethal tempo, so definitely going to be doing a lot of damage.
Oh, nice Glacial Prison there from Blaber. As soon as Gakgos tries to go into the brush, he's met with CC into the execution from the curtain call. Thanks to Zven, C9 is ready for FlyQuest here in this game 5.
Yeah, they had that controller in the brush, just kind of sitting there waiting, and you walk in, face check, just get hit with the deletion. C9, guess what? That means you're winning all lanes. Top side, Thanatos gets more free time. Mid lane, APA and Zven are completely fine to push up there too. So all of the map is just collapsing in on FlyQuest.
Yeah, this is looking really, really tough here. You know, like you said, they're pushing on the other side. You get a kill on Gakgos with no recourse whatsoever there from FlyQuest. Massu loses his flash. Thanatos takes a tower for free on the top side, and even is under so little pressure that he's going to deny the wave before taking this. So Cloud9 really feeling like they are completely running away with it in game number 5. Has been a very close series. You know, FlyQuest was close to taking that second game, you know, which would have put them up, you know, one more additional game and potentially been that closeout. But now C9, they get to game 5 here. They have lost 2 in a row, but they feel like they have righted the ship and are fully in control.
I feel like this has to be just a Smurf Azir performance from Quad if FlyQuest want to come back into this game, because otherwise I don't really see the angle.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult with what we're seeing on the board right now, and the timer is very accelerated with Mountain Soul coming so quickly here for Cloud9. We'll see if FlyQuest can find their moment, though. I think it's fairly simple for C9, though. They're so strong as a group. You can get your invades really early into the jungle. You see already Vulcan is doing the early work. If you get this line of wards 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes ahead of the dragon, then it means, okay, there's no more Mikhails. It does mean it's very difficult for FlyQuest to ever set up their own vision, because it's hard to clear out all of yours, and then they're even going to see where you place your wards if you do. And so the next line of wards becomes even easier for them. Now Gakgos
Once again, it's Gakgos getting caught by the CC from the Sejuani. He tries to get away over the wall, but it won't work. C9 have this Akali figured out.
Yeah, they get him again here at 0-3 and 0, and Zven just feels like he is just picking up every last hit. He is so accelerated, 2.6k ahead now. He's going to be working in towards that IE, which is going to make him ridiculously strong. Thanatos already has hysterics, so this guy is not getting burst down whatsoever. C9 are winning every fight easily.
And Kobe, you mentioned earlier how Blaber's inventory is looking so good because he's buying a bunch of cheap crap. Well, guess what? One of the best cheap things you can buy in the game is when you've got a fed carry like a 5-0 Jhin. The Knight's Vow completed on the Sejuani only makes it that much more difficult for FlyQuest to answer.
Yeah, really big stuff here. I mean, 5 kills for Zven now. I mean, he's got Collector, so executing people on top of it. And that, I wonder, okay, let's check how much money he has on top of the BF sword, because if he gets
got IE.
freaking IE before the fight, then it's looking ogre.
Yeah.
Avert your eyes, FlyQuest fans. This is not safe for work.
I mean, this is your last chance, right? You can't, from this spot, give over Mountain Soul and realistically win the game, right? So FlyQuest basically have to show up and say, all right, here we go. It's either that or you're saying, I pray that they flip Elder and we steal it later in the game, but Cloud9 don't have to give you that sort of an opportunity.
I mean, FlyQuest is kind of the go crazy hands check 'em team. So it's a tough hands check. You're down 3 Drakes and 3,500 gold. But hey, it's what it's going to come down to.
Cloud9 have more hands.
Cloud9 also, Zven's
Lots
like,
of
fine,
hands.
I'll see your hands shake and I will wallet check you.
The hand versus the
I
wallet.
definitely win those.
C9 got a pretty heavy wallet right now. Do some reps in the gym, just lifting that thing. Meanwhile, mid lane. Ooh, there's your Glacial Prison over onto Cryogen. Thanatos jumps in. FlyQuest support, low HP. However, he does save his flash. He does save his ultimate. Thanatos also losing about 40% of his own health bar as FlyQuest continue the approach. APA drops the ulti. They're ready to go in. They find the combo on Massu. The never move pulls him right back in. And he's not getting bailed out of this one. Vulcan getting away off to the side. Gakgos finally kills him off. Thanatos finally going to drop the quad. FlyQuest firing back a little bit here, but Blaber's already doing the dragon. APA still in the middle of everybody. The Swain train has arrived. Triple kill over to APA. And C9 take the ace and the Dragon Soul.
No miracle for Quad today. Cloud9 finished the job. Mountain Soul and the free push down mid lane for Zven, who survives there with the four-shot flash to escape with his life. The engage, look at this engage onto Massu. I mean, APA just walks right at him, pops the Swain ult. He gets locked up by Vulcan immediately. Such a huge lead in the fight. How do you even come back from that?
Look at Vulcan so low, flashes out, so they couldn't get the bailout. You could see Gakgos going in, trying to get that reset for Massu. That's kind of what they were betting their fight on. By the time Quad arrives here, does have a good ult, knocks him back, but Zven survives, flashes over the wall. APA gets a triple.
Nice, nice.
Oh, nice.
Go mid tower, go mid
That
tower.
was kind of close. I guess not really. Nice. No.
He was tunnel visioned on his own health bar, I think, saying it's close and then realizing it's not.
It wasn't that close, but I do think if he dies and Massu gets the bailout reset, it becomes a really close fight. And he lived with, I don't know, 5-10% health maybe to not let that reset happen.
Well, let's see where we go from here. Gryffinn trying to flash away, but he gets locked up by the deadly flourish. One CC after another. C9 try to commit onto the Mundo, but Gryffinn with the flash manages to get away. Thanatos, however, has found another target. He'll get a second flash, this time out of Cryogen. Deadly Flourish not hitting the mark to follow that one up, but C9 taking summoner spells for free.
Yeah, they get summoner spells, and they probably should get the Baron after that. FlyQuest are trying to split push here with Quad, who technically does have teleport. Does he want to actually use it, though, to go contest? It's just so hard because you just lost all your summoner spells, and you have no control. You can't approach. It's into the darkness, so let's get as little money as you can.
Spooky.
Yeah.
It's a very spooky map state, game state, series state for FlyQuest. All these states are not good.
Yeah, I agree. It is really tough. I mean, one light at the end of the tunnel, perhaps, is these objective bounties, as Quad does just grab one for himself.
I think the light at the end of the tunnel might be a train, Isaac. FlyQuest's not having a good time.
Wait, don't go to the light. No!
Yeah, get away from the light. Get out of the tunnel right now. FlyQuest down 5,000 gold and a Baron and a Dragon Soul now. And I think it's just going to come down to what you were talking about earlier, Azael. You flip it at Elder. You hope that you get the perfect fight.
Yeah.
You hope that you start hearing that noise as you get them down very, very low, like you were saying. Hey, maybe you can get a bailout. Maybe you can get a reset. But we're all just kind of thinking in what ifs right now from the FlyQuest side because C9 has had such a dominant game so far.
Exactly. I mean, they are living in what ifs because Cloud9 in reality are 10,000 gold ahead in stats as far as the gold lead plus the soul, and it's a very effective soul. It's a super tanky soul against a team that has to do a lot of upfront damage here with the Akali, with the Kalista. Obviously, you have consistent damage from Quad, and he does have a Void Staff now completed for that third item. But the reality is Cloud9 does not have to flip an Elder to win this game. They can just play it safe and slow and try to grind out this win and secure themselves the first win in playoffs.
And it also vindicates their choice of opponent. Remember, that was what I was thinking at the end of game number 4 after FlyQuest were looking like they could make this reverse sweep happen is if you pick an opponent that then beats you, you're kind of kicking yourself a little bit for that one. But C9 looking very strong here so far in game number 5, taking out that tier 2 turret in the mid lane. The only structure left standing for FlyQuest outside of the base itself is the tier 2 in top side. C9 still have this Baron for another minute and 15 seconds. The Elder Drake will spawn about 60 seconds after that. And because C9 own the entire map, thanks to the Baron buff, it's going to create another one of these difficult circumstances for Fly, where C9 is obviously going to have first pick at where they want to set up their vision, how they want to set up for the Elder, and FlyQuest is going to have to figure out the approach. Yeah, and there's all these luxury items coming through now. Locket just got completed for Vulcan. He went for Zeke's first, but now you have the Locket. Now you have the Seekers. The Zonia's almost done there for APA, so it's going to be tough. All right, Gryffinn, once again, the target of the Glacial Prison. As the Deadly Flourish follows it up, Curtain Call opens. Gryffinn getting away. Fourth shot hurts, but because the third one missed, it can't quite get him low enough. I'm not sure whether or not that would have been a kill if all 4 connected, but it does not matter. FlyQuest stay alive for now. Yeah, and they're just buying more time for Thanatos to push on in with the Baron buff. All these buffed up minions are going to do a lot of work too, so C9. Ooh, Quad using the Azir ulti there defensively, worried that C9 might commit for him, but he doesn't get a lot of value out of it, so that just means another tool for FlyQuest unavailable. And it is scary because he knows if he dies, the game ends instantly, right? Yeah. He is basically their only hope there, and he saw the angle that Blaber might be going in, so tried to kind of predictively ult him back, but Thanatos is just grinding out this win here, pushing through the side lanes. No one can answer him. Thanatos Gnar is just all sorts of a monster, man, as he is going to have alone time here with the mid lane inhibitor. FlyQuest now having to back away from APA. The Swain creating so much space for the rest of C9 to move into the enemy jungle. Never Move finds Quad as a target. Hostile takeover, only going to get Vulcan, really, as APA's stasis keeps him protected. C9 force their way into the enemy base. They take out the mid lane inhibitor. They get out with everybody intact, and it's 45 seconds until the Elder spawns. Yeah, they use a decent amount of resources, but this late in the game, a lot of the ults come back very, very quickly. So FlyQuest, they're counting down the time here. Your hope is at the end of the game, the dream of some sort of Elder steal or just better positioning can try and find a win in the fight. Quad does add a little bit more power, one more needlessly large rod to try and get a tiny bit of extra juice for this fight. Yeah, they're seeing if they can just overload the side. If Thanatos jumps in, there are 3 members here, but he is now aware of it, and Thanatos not going to fall for that sort of a play at this point of the game. 15 seconds until that Elder spawns. FlyQuest have no vision in the river at all. It is just going to be so hard for them to get over there and even have a chance at a steal. Well, they know that it's just about the only chance they have, but their wards are being cleared away. Everything is so bleak and so dark here on Summoner's Rift for FlyQuest. Thanatos just trying to get a little bit of poke here. Vulcan jumps in for the headbutt pull. Gryffinn staying alive for now. Vulcan in the middle of everybody. Mundo going to be the target, but he is tanking it out. EP ready to reinforce FlyQuest as C9 go to send it, but they do not find success. Gryffinn still marching forward. Maximum dosage about to wear out. APA with a flash, ready to follow. Thanatos, meanwhile, back in the enemy base as the fight continues raging on. C9 just has to stop the backs. Teleport trying to be channeled. FlyQuest wanting to try to keep their Nexus alive. Quad arrives. Thanatos about to go mega. Meanwhile, in the fight down here on the bottom side, hostile takeover flies out. Thanatos already found the first turret. FlyQuest continuing to try to find the kills as Gakgos shuts down Blaber. FlyQuest going forward. APA using the never move here. Massu staying alive for now. Zven going unstoppable. Akali down. Gakgos falls. Thanatos pushed back from the Nexus. Meanwhile, it's a wipe down here on the bottom side as the Deadly Flourish finds Gryffinn, but he still gets away for now. 3 dead on the FlyQuest side in the 4v4. 2 dead on C9. Gryffinn still getting away for now.
This is ridiculously close there. Gryffinn is going to get finished off. Zven was a split second from dying to Gakgos. If Zven dies there, Fly might have gotten the Elder. That was ridiculously close. And Thanatos just TPs away from the fight, goes for the end. That forces Quad to respond here. At the end of the day, Zven does survive, so the ifs, ands, or buts do not matter. They will get the Elder here. And that is one step closer to C9 closing out this game.
Yeah, and it's like a skip step because you get the Elder and you skip on over to Baron and then you get Baron as well and then you look for the end. Let's take a look. This fight got so crazy. So they go in, Vulcan with the engage. As you pointed out, there are already 2 people at Nexus trying to end and defend. And here's where Zven gets so low. Gakgos, look at that, into the back line, a sliver of HP. But does go down.
That's the gold difference in action. That is the Mountain Soul in action. You don't have those things. Zven just dies there, and the fight is completely different. The game is completely different. If that is Elder for Fly, if that is Baron for Fly, they are in with an actual shot here, and instead, it is Cloud9 with the Elder, going to be able to grab a Baron uncontested. No way FlyQuest wants to leave the base here. It is 155 on that Elder, so that is kind of the time frame where you cannot be fought whatsoever.
And once they have the Baron, they're not really going to give FlyQuest a choice. They already have the mid lane inhibitor destroyed. It will not respawn for another 75 seconds or so, and now C9 can just group up and push down top.
Quad needs 400 gold for the death cap. That would be so big, but they're just, like you said, not going to give them the time.
All right, C9 grouped up as 4, pushing down top lane. Thanatos splitting in mid to make sure pressure remains in 2 different places, so it's harder for FlyQuest to defend. Elder still up and running for another minute and a half or so, as C9 have taken out the tier 3 turret here in the top lane. Thanatos continuing to push down mid. Zven has plenty of damage to get rid of this top lane inhibitor. It's out of there as FlyQuest scramble to try to protect their only remaining Nexus turret. This is likely to be the end of the game right here as Quad gets caught out by the engage coming in from Vulcan. APA in the middle of everybody here with the Swain ulti raging yet again. The Elder will claim its first victims. Bottom lane of FlyQuest already out of the picture. Blaber finally dies, but it is not enough. Only Gryffinn still standing here alongside Gakgos trying to get something. But despite it going the distance, despite nearly being reverse swept, Cloud9 will deny FlyQuest and win their first series here in the playoffs.
And in a series where we spent so much time talking about Massu and Cryogen, how well they were playing, in Game 5, it is a 13-0-6 Jhin game from Zven. Zven and Vulcan really took over this one.
With Massu's own pick, they used the Jhin against him here. Cloud9, congratulations. What a kickoff to playoffs here and the road to Arizona for the LCS.
Awesome stuff. I love it when we get to go to Game 5 here in the playoffs. Lounge, what are you thinking?
Woo! That was such a fun series. I was a little afraid after Game 2 that it was like, oh no, I don't want to sweep because I think these 2 teams are very evenly matched. We definitely saw that today. Really, really close series.
Yeah, we had a lot of new audience members. So the fact that, like, if Cloud9 just swapped, that would have been a flop. And then you get to see the reverse sweep, and I was like, oh my God, is it going to happen to Cloud9 again to get bumped in the first round? No, that doesn't happen. They really defend themselves, and that was a much more convincing series.
Woo!
Guys.